Now, Jele Trofania is going on a diet. And if you are interested in how a herbalist will approach dieting and are looking to join me on this journey, keep watching and make sure you watch the whole thing, because I'm going to be telling a story that I feel will be very useful for everybody who wants to go on the same journey. So, how much weight have I gained? 5 years, I have gained a total of 23 kilograms. I used to be around 73, 74 kg. That's 73 to 75, sometimes 77. I was around that, and I'm now currently 97.4 kilograms. And I know people say as you get older, you gain weight, but this is not it. I have adopted some heavy eating behaviors that have led to be in this position. Stress, work, studying, I purchased a house and there was a lot of drama, and eating is my comfort food, which has led to me gaining a lot of weight. And certain things have changed in my life that I'm not accepting, because I want to grow into my 70s and be running mountains and running up mountains and doing all sorts of stuff and living a very active life in my old age. So that's going to be very dependent on the investment I put in myself now. So my walking pace has slowed down. I'm running and I'm getting out of breath a lot quicker, and I'm like, what is this? Even going to the shops, and I have to. I'm already quite busty, so previously I would go to places like Bravissimo and I would find a range of bras that I could use, and our bras are very expensive because of our size. And now I go and make a selection, put my new bra size, and it goes down to 2 options, for real. Rolls, rubbing of thighs. For me, this is not my life, so I need to do something about it. But as a person who's been through diets before and now have this added knowledge of being a herbalist, there are certain things I'm going to do to make sure that my dieting is a success. So what am I going to do? First of all, I'm going to incorporate herbs. You have to. And I'm going to incorporate specific herbs for specific reasons. First of all, I have a really bad sweet tooth. I like my sweet of choice is more of chocolate. I have an issue with chocolate. I love chocolate. Right now, my current addiction is Kit Kat Chunky. I'll eat all the chocolate and then eat the biscuit later. It's a bit crazy. But when somebody has a sweet tooth, especially for a long period of time, originally you're eating the chocolate for the sake of it. But after a while, once your body gets used to it, your gut bacteria is now adapting to this not so positive change in your diet. And it will get to the point where your body will now start craving the sugar, whereas you weren't craving it before. You'll notice that you start craving other sugars, like fizzy drinks, where you might not have drunk fizzy drink before. So if I'm going to start this diet and do so very well, I need to do something about this gut bacteria. Oddly enough, one of the symptoms of having, for example, worms is overeating. So in Ghana, if I come back from Ghana and I'm eating a stupid amount, then I'm looking, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to do some deworming, something like that. So the 2 herbs that I'm going to use to do that is wormwood. It's Artemisia absinthium and also Berberis vulgaris. I'm going to make a herbal medicine of it and start a process of what we call weeding, where you weed out and almost kill off that negative bacteria, so that it's not also shaping the chemical conversations in your body where you're like, where's the sugar, where's the sugar? So I start my diet by doing that, and I'll do that for 2-3 days max. So I'll kind of do that first, but I'll also incorporate herbs in my diet to help me with blood sugar regulation. 2 of those herbs are cinnamon, and I'll have it in my diet because it's important that I incorporate in food, but also gymnema. So where I feel like I'm really struggling, I'll have gymnema, which is also known as sugar destroyer. If you put it on your tongue, it almost kills the sugar taste. So you can taste the chocolate and you won't taste the sweetness. So it almost helps you break that psychological association with sweetness. But again, it's also very important in regulating blood sugar. Another thing that I will also look to do is, because I'm going to do something more like calorie restriction, but not overdo it, I want to make sure that my metabolism is maintained. So there's certain herbs that you can use, or seasoning or spices you can use to help maintain your metabolism. One great one is ginger. Another one is cayenne. So ginger you can have in the juice or add to your food, but I prefer to have it in my juice. Cayenne adds to your food, so have a little bit more spice to your food, and that helps with, you know, in keeping your metabolism while you're on this in this food. Don't restrict your calories so much that your body thinks it's going through starvation mode. It puts you and your body under strain, and you don't want that. And when you do go back to eating normally, if you do, you're literally going to retain everything because your body's like, oh my gosh, I don't know when I'm going to get food. The other thing is about resetting my taste buds. And one of the ways that I'm going to reset my taste buds, because I'm used to very strong, because a lot of our traditional foods is, I wouldn't say excessively, is strongly seasoned to the extent we're so used to the strong seasoning. And then with the sweetness, we're sweet and strong, MSG intensified flavor is what we're used to the extent that we almost can't taste spices in their natural form unless they've been chemically enhanced in some way. And one thing about this lifestyle change is I want to get back to tasting seasoning and in their richness, in their purest form. And one of the ways that I do this is by bitter foods. So I find that bitter foods helps, you know, eating healthily over a period of time will help you reset your taste buds. But I feel like bitter tastes cleanse the palate to leave it available for those new flavors. And so eating more bitter foods will not only help me with releasing digestive juices and helping with digestion, but it will help me cleanse my palate. So dandelion leaf is a great example. Some of the herbs that I'll be taking, for example, dandelion root is also quite bitter. Chamomile's a little bit bitter. And some of the herbal teas I'll be taking bitter leaf stew. But look for adding bitterness. Get bitter leaf, like a rocket can also be bitter. Add these to your diet to help release those digestive juices, but also cleanse your palate. Another thing that I'm doing as well is that as I'm losing the body fat stores a lot. It stores your excess hormones can be stored in fat. So sometimes when you're going through like maybe menopause, or you might have a hormonal issue, you find that you're building excessive fat, especially around the abdominal areas, because there's a process where you can also do, you know, hormones can be stored in those and you can create hormones. So when that fat's being released, I need to make sure that the clearance mechanisms in my body are able to clear them out. Liver, kidneys are going to be clearing a lot out. Now, if I'm not, for example, pooing every day, or, you know, my liver doesn't have the nutrients to go through the processes, because it's like 3 processes to break these down and clear it, I'm going to have a problem that I don't want to have. So for me, it is important to have those bitter foods and also herbs like dandelion root to help with the liver and help with the process of getting rid of you know, what I'm releasing as I'm burning fat and getting rid of and the toxins, and my body's rejuvenating itself. So bitter foods, fiber, the herbs as well for protecting your liver. Milk thistle is an example, but you know, I have dandelion root is readily available. There's lots of dandelion in my garden, so I'm going to be using that. Also, for example, in my case, I have a couple of intolerances like gluten and dairy, and I have been eating both. So there's processes of inflammation which could also impact the success of the diet. So I'm going to be having I'm going to be eliminating those from the diet, but also I'm going to be having like anti-inflammatories. Turmeric is a brilliant example. I'm going to have that in the form of a food, and that is going to be golden milk, because I just love golden milk. I have a recipe for that in my YouTube channel. And so the herbs I'm going to be taking are going to be essentially addressing inflammation, and I'm also going to be having 2 liters of water a day, and I'm going to be including herbs like calendula, chamomile, plantago, which are very healing to the membranes, very soothing, and those are the herbs that I'm going to be taking as part of my 2 liters minimum of water every single day. Again, you want to flush it out. But another goal I have for my diet is to make sure that I have 20 fruits, veggies, and spices every single day minimum. And one of the reasons is that in order for my body to be able to clear the waste that I'm going to be releasing and to help me lose the weight, I need to be in optimal condition. And I need to have a variety of nutrients and vitamins, and I'm going to do that using what God has provided us. And yes, I could take a supplement, and supplements are I've already said in my videos that, you know, there is a place for supplement, but my primary place to get those things is via my food. So I'm going to try different ways to get as many fruits and veg, and you'll be surprised. Like, if you make your own spices to season one meal, you've already included like 7 or 8 of them in one meal. So this is going to help encourage us including more of those spices in the meal, so we can get more of those nutrients and those vitamins into our bodies for our bodies to be able to go optimally. So this is another thing that I'm going to be looking to do in terms of my diet. I'm at the end of it, maybe I might do more keto for where the stubborn bits come, and for a short period of time, but I'm looking primarily to adopt a way of eating that is going to be a lifestyle change for me. Then I'm going to look at my eating habits based on how I understand digestion to be working, what's optimal. One, I'm only going to eat when I'm hungry. I'm not going to force myself to eat 3 times a day and snacks in between if I'm not hungry. I'm going to eat when I'm hungry. But I'm going to be very smart and make sure that there's going to be food available and prepped before that time comes. Because if I'm prepping while I'm hungry, I know myself, will not make the right choices. I make sure number 2 every day. So I'm going to be eating well so that I'm clearing every single day. So it's important that you're doing number 2s every single day. The other thing that I'm going to make sure that that I do is I move. Exercise is extremely important. You have to move. I, on average, I will say at least half of the week naturally do 10,000 steps without having to try. So in this period of time, I do 10,000 steps and at least 20 to 30 minutes of exercise, or I do 13,000 steps. I'm easing myself into it. I have a gym membership, but I don't always go. So I'm looking at either doing the YouTube videos, because I have kettlebells at home, or I'll go to the gym depending on where I'm at. But movement's also going to be very important. I will also make sure that I eat sitting down and I'm present when I'm eating. One of the things that culturally as well is eating outside on the go is not a very cultural thing. And I remember when I was seen by a family member to be eating outside, and when I got home was basically told that, you know, I saw you eating crisps outside, like, we don't do that. When you go home you eat, or when you're in your office you eat. I shouldn't be seeing you eat on the street. And culturally there's sense behind that. You know, sometimes that could facilitate mindless eating, but if we're at a table and we're focused on our food, we chew it more, we focus on it on more, and then we also aware when we're actually full, rather than just stuffing our faces like we're used to. And now starting, because I am going to start, but these are the 3 things that I considered when starting. Number 1, time of the month. There are times of the month when I want to eat the whole house, and there are times of the month where I'm naturally not that hungry. For me, that naturally not that hungry is like the day before or while I'm on my period. While I'm on my period, it's very much a time of not eating. I don't feel like eating. I drink, but I don't feel like eating that much. So this would be the best time for me to start, when my body's already not wanting to eat, because by the time I come off my period, I'm already like gone through days of, you know, doing that and can continue my journey. 2, not a day when, like, don't start it on Christmas Day. Don't start your diet when you know the following day you're going to be, you know, eating at families, because you've just got yourself in a mindset and you're more likely, if you've got good willpower, go for it. But for me, I need to be at least doing it for a week before I could go out into the world and start facing the big family gatherings. Another thing that I would want to point out in terms of dieting is that dieting, especially when it's because you've been engaging in behaviors that are not very positive, not a very positive relationship with food, it's not just a physical action, it's a mental and a spiritual one. So in my culture, we have something called the Wishi, and it's kind of like a more of a negative side of you that, if it's at the back, as we would say, can inform but not control. But sometimes the behaviors that we do, especially if we're not engaging in spiritual practice, and, you know, we're being bombarded with a lot of things in this world and the media and everything that goes on, sometimes we could go out of balance, and then the issue will come in front and make us engage in behavior that's not very conducive to our health. So for me, based on what I know of myself and what I've been through and the behaviors that I have developed, I feel there's like a little bit of a balance that needs to be drawn. So it is a spiritual act for me to now, while I'm dieting, consider more meditation, consider more being present, so that I can form a better, more spiritual relationship with food, because nourishment of yourself is a spiritual thing. So one of the ways I do this is by starting the diet on my soul day, or my Klagby. I know my accent is going to be horrendous, but where I'm from, my culture, we place a very significant importance on the day you were born. There is an extra vim and encouragement when you do things or start things on the day you were born, and that day for me is Monday. So ideally, I will start on a Monday, at a time when, you know, I'm not going to be having some serious tasty food being presented to me within that week, and literally just before or during my period, which is about this week. So this is what I'm going to do in terms of my diet. If you want to keep up with my journey, I'm going to be posting every single week, or every 2 weeks, sorry, my update in terms of how much I've lost and the lessons I've learned, and we'll also be sharing some recipes that I found very useful. And if you have any questions and you want to join me on the journey to losing weight and getting back into my many clothes that I sold whilst I'm in Ghana and I'm refusing to throw away, please join me. So I hope you learnt something watching this video, and I look forward to engaging with you more. Take care.